Richard Randall, and welcome back to the Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb, when home sellers are planning to put their homes on the market, and with more homes available now and prices dipping, how does a home seller, especially someone with a luxury property, sell their home fast and for the most money possible?
Well, Richard, you would think that the luxury market would get hit first. That's what happened during the meltdown, but it's not so much happening right now. I mean, there are some people that are affected by rising interest rates, but over the long term, home prices tend to be resilient no matter what's going on in the market. If you look back in the 1980s, when interest rates were probably anywhere from 8 to 10%, people were snapping up homes back then. So it's not the end of the world. It's just hard to adjust to this quickly. But what we're seeing is that there's a lot of luxury homes selling faster than the lower price homes, which is kind of surprising. And there's a whole bunch of wealth transfer that's going to be taking place by the year 2030. That's only 8 years away. And some of this will be passed on to the younger generation actually before those people pass away. Like they'll be transferring assets and homes and maybe buying up homes for their kids and stuff before this takes place. So, what is there to invest in? It's either stocks or real estate. And the obvious question is, which one's going up? Well, even with this shock to the market and all that, what we've seen in the past month or so is home prices have gone up. And if you look back over time, I went back and looked at Colorado Springs area average home price back in 1992 was $101,259. Wouldn't that be cool?
To be able to do that these days.
Yeah, but now here we are 30 years later, it's $532,000. That's the average home price right now. So obviously, over time, these values have absolutely gone up. So it's a good investment over time. And I did some research to find out, so what does a luxury home buyer want? Because sometimes people don't know, they're just assuming. And these are some of the trends that they're looking for now. The first thing would be to have 2 offices in the home. I recently sold a luxury home that didn't have really any office on the main level. It was a very big open floor plan, beautiful home. But that was the biggest objection we got from buyers, is we didn't have that main level study where the main level master was. The other thing that they're looking for are gyms in the home, some kind of space to work out. And the other thing that was a big trend back in the early 2000s is everybody was putting these home theaters in their homes, but then they kind of went out of style. And they're back in now, but in a different way. What people are looking for is kind of a multifunctional home theater, like a place where you could watch movies and maybe play pool at the same time. The other thing the luxury buyer would like to have is a great outdoor space. It's beautiful here in the outdoors. Many of these luxury properties have pretty views or a gorgeous deck. They also want homes that are located close to good outdoor recreation. And we have that pretty much all over Colorado Springs. There's all over East and West County. There's great places to walk and hike and take your dogs for a walk. And what we're seeing is that some of the luxury buyers are moving to adjacent areas. So as an example, I'm sure you've heard of Cherry Creek, Denver has always been a very pristine area. But some of the luxury buyers are going to nearby areas, like say North Colorado Springs, to have a luxury home instead of living up there with all the traffic. So we're seeing a lot of that. One thing that was interesting, I went to one of these websites called Luxury Real Estate, and they defined El Paso County's luxury price at above $630,000. That was a surprise to me. Didn't that surprise you, Richard?
Yeah, that surprises me absolutely, especially when you're talking about an average home price of $500,000.
Yeah, exactly. But, it just depends on their budget. So, but basically the luxury buyer wants added value, and they want to have a home that is able to give them good luxury type experiences. We're not talking about, living on the water or someplace like that, but many of these homes in great neighborhoods have beautiful views where you feel like you're in a resort, where every day you could look out the window and take in some kind of mountain view or Pikes Peak or something like that. And I did some research to find out kind of what was the average price, how did it compare to the kind of median or average price home sale in the Colorado Springs area. And the thing that surprised me the most is that the days on market were almost identical to the lower price point, and the average list price to sales price was better than the lower price point. Actually, people are paying a higher price for a luxury home by comparison than they are for a average or below average price point. Even the prices of homes from 900 to 2 million, I saw pretty much the same statistics. And that was really surprising to me because I just was not expecting that. And the other thing, and I touched on this in the last segment, is where the buyers are coming from. And that was a huge shock. It's a really cool tool on realtor.com. And it basically said the number one relocation place that people are moving from to come to this area is actually Maricopa County, the Phoenix area in Arizona. Then the second highest one is Denver, believe it or not, Denver County and Arapahoe County. So we're seeing a big improvement in luxury home sales right now. And so what's different about selling a luxury home versus a regular home? Well, most people want to buy on value, what they can get for their home. It may not always be beautiful, remodeled, although we have for years and years, no matter what the market's doing, we've always seen the beautiful remodeled homes sell for a premium, no matter what. But occasionally people will buy on value, or the big thing that we're seeing a lot that's really high demand is if you happen to have a home that would work for a multi-generational type family, like to have a main level bedroom with a main level bathroom and still have bedrooms upstairs or downstairs. Those are big trends that are happening right now, as well as even in-law suite. Just like the one that I sold a few weeks ago, that was definitely a multi-generational family. You could have families upstairs, main level, and basement. It was really something, and it had a huge turnout. 85 people at the 1 hour open house, 6 offers, and it sold for $75,000 over asking price. This is after the market corrected over $30,000. Okay, we got this kind of turnout at an open house. So step one to selling luxury, of course, is to hire an agent that has that kind of experience. Not everybody does. But it's a different type of marketing, and you need to have an agent that knows how to really highlight the best attributes of your home to get top dollar. Richard?
That person would be you, and I'm not surprised by those numbers. We've seen you do that over and over and over again. You're listening to The Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. You can reach her at 719-301-3900. And Barb, how to sell a home fast and for the most money? That's important. Why are the rest of the top tips to selling a luxury home? What are those?
Well, first of all, you want to be the best one available. Okay, so there's obviously a lot of choices when you walk into the luxury arena. A lot of different neighborhoods, a lot of different lot sizes, different views, different amenities. So you want to be the best one available in your price range and in your category. And part of that has to do with preparation. So making sure there's no deferred maintenance. Like the one property I just talked about, it was built in the 80s. It hadn't been updated much. And that was our first consult, was what do we need to do? We don't want to do a full-on rehab, but we do want to do enough to make a buyer say yes. And so we did that. And some of my recommendations were just simple things. They didn't necessarily have to have quartz counters or a completely remodeled kitchen, because they would not have gotten the money out of it, but the carpet was magenta. So that had to go. And then just a few other little things, like any kind of deferred looking maintenance, like heavy traffic areas on the hardwood floors and things like that, they took care of. And it was enough to get a dog pile of buyers in just one afternoon. So that preparation and having somebody that knows how to consult you on that is key. And then pricing is the next thing. You have to look at your competition, because that's what the luxury buyer is looking at. What can I get in my price range? And curb appeal, of course, is always an important thing. You also want to make sure you hire an agent that does things like make sure that you have professional photography, virtual tours, talking house ads, drone imagery, that they can market to their own database of buyers and real buyers. I'm not talking about tire kickers, because one of the things that could be an issue selling the higher end luxury homes, and this is unfortunate, Richard, but I know it happens, is that most agents, when they connect with a buyer online, the very first meeting with the buyer is at the house. And many times the average agent is not going to vet that buyer. They're just going to show up at the house and hope things work out. So what do they know about them? Can they really afford to buy the house? And I actually had a $2 million sale this summer where that seller had fired his previous agent because the agent did what we call a Pop-Tart. The buyer said, hey, I want to see this house. So she popped out of the toaster, showed up at the house, met the buyer, didn't know anything about him. And the only thing the buyer wanted to see was the safe. Now, don't you think that's suspect?
Oh, that is totally sus.
Yeah, so he did some research. He got his name. Turns out the guy was just let out of prison. So you need to hire an agent that knows how to protect your assets and doesn't let any riffraff in your house at the hope of maybe earning a commission. All right, and then also make sure you have stunning visuals. We can do that. The other thing that's really important is the online presentation. Pictures are absolutely critical, because we know now most buyers are eliminating homes online. So it has to be right. Let me give you an example. Here was a $2 million sale that the first agent used this picture, did not sell. They fired her. The second agent used this picture, which is much more attractive.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And they didn't change the price. So that's key. But you want to make sure you price your property appropriately. And that takes in a lot of different factors: location, the market, the age, the condition improvements, and of course, the competition. And the market's going to tell you if you didn't get it right. It will tell you right away based on the number of showings, the feedback of the showings. So if you're getting tons of showings and no offers, you're very, very close. It's just a minor price adjustment. But if you're getting very few showings, you're a little bit further off. And that's part of what we are good. But most importantly, you want to hire the team that has experience selling luxury homes, knows how to create buyer demand, knows how to vet the buyers, and so that they know before they walk into your house that they have the financial strength to perform. And that's part of what we do. So if you're thinking of making a move, you can give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Barb, I always talk about your experience, but boy, the person looking at the home for the safe, that is something I've never heard from anyone other than you. And it is because you've had a lot of experience. You're listening to The Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And if you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. When we come back, divorce, what you need to know about your house mortgage and taxes and more. Don't miss it.